going on? What's going on? Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? I guess it'll be a video. I guess. Seems like it. What's the volume? We're doing okay, I think. Welcome to the stream, everybody. This is the safe room, I guess. Gonna try to. Oh my god, I haven't heard this song yet. This is great. But we're gonna try and receive the Xbox information today, and hopefully, you know, come out with a better outlook. I personally am like, I'll be fine. I'll be okay. But the community at large, insane. Insane, to put it lightly. Let me get my things in order. Nope, not that. Ooh. Alright. What is this song? This is way different. They got the dude singing now. Interesting. Let's see. Get this off here. We got 30 seconds-ish. Let's just hit refresh till it's up there. Pretty sure it's just gonna be a video. It didn't say it was a live stream, so. Oh, that's 3. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? 13 years ago. Wow, look at that. Bro! What's going on, Didge? Will the rumors be true, Paradox? I think some of them probably will. Where is this video, though? Oh, here we go. 22 minutes. Perfect. Let's do it. And make sure the quality is pristine. HD tears or happiness.
And we have a very special episode today.
Let me see.
As you can probably
Let me
tell
know
by
what the
fact that I'm
volume be
joined by
like.
Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Welcome.
Looks like it's doing
And
alright.
we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity.
Oh.
We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're
Dang,
part of our
dude.
portfolio.
Don't get in trouble.
And we want to talk about hardware too and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had
goodness.
planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had
already
some
mentioned.
unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the minds of a lot of people. We hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles.
Okay.
Just 4 games.
Just 4?
Not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. It is We're making these decisions for some specific reasons.
Specific
we
reasons.
Make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind.
Okay. First question.
Long-term health of Xbox.
What are the reasons?
Growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So we're going to do that.
Okay.
So these 4 titles, what are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners.
Scary.
So, I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not
Halo?
Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Halo!
Well,
oh God!
Criteria in how the team
or Gears.
Selecting those 4 titles.
I want names. That's what I'm saying. I want names.
Specific games that we're talking about right now, because the fundamental.
So we know not Indiana Jones, not Starfield.
Anything we're going to talk about today is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years,
they're showing Halo right now.
Exclusive games that are exclusive
Does that mean
to
something?
one piece of hardware are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry.
I agree with that.
Great insight, because if you look at the
I
last
agree.
10
Yeah,
years,
I agree with that.
what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether
See,
it's
he's
one
warm. He's
console,
massaging it in. He's like, y'all get used to this. Get used to this.
You see big games landing on multiple platforms, and we want to be a great platform for
not in the
creators
same
that
way
are trying
though.
to realize that potential. But now back to the
Not in the same way though, Phil. I feel like Xbox doesn't have as much control as everybody else. So to say like, oh, we'll see this with everybody. It's like, yeah, maybe eventually, but you might be the first domino to fall. That's what I'll say. Is that just for now, though? Because if those games do well, oh, yeah, for sure it's for now. For sure it's just for now. 100%. I don't doubt that. What's going on, Mr. E? We're listening to some Xbox news. They're talking about, first topic, exclusivity.
The specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old. So they've
okay, good. I like this. I like this start.
Xbox and PC for a while.
Okay.
A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games.
Hi-Fi Rush isn't a part of that.
Iterations of a franchise.
Hi-Fi. When did Hi-Fi Rush come out? It's barely a year old, if that. Okay, interesting.
That have reached.
If it's a part of the list.
Let's say on Xbox and PC, there's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in. Part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will end up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business and great for
Hi-Fi released in January. Ooh.
I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that. But
I'm not mad at that one though. I'm not mad at that.
That we love supporting creative endeavors across our studios, regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those.
I'm not against that.
Other games like that in our portfolio.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think it's fair to make a game, and then if you want to have like the exclusivity thing, so people are like, why invest in Xbox? That's why you do it. Then the devs still have an opportunity to, make more money so that they can make the next game or do whatever by also going to other platforms after a year amount of time. It sounds like a year's amount of time. I think that's fair. Have I heard of a game called Evil West? It's really fun. I have. My friend Trayvon, Nerd with the Tech, he's playing it right now. He also enjoys it.
And when we don't damage Xbox and we can grow our business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And that's really
I do think that's smart.
These 4 games.
Timed exclusives, I'm not mad at.
Looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming. It's not. And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games
that's what Sony is doing with some titles, right? They port to PC after a year or so. That is what they are increasingly starting to do. Yes, Paradox. It seems like the God of War and Last of Us, and I think Horizon has now come to PC. That's after minimum a year. Usually I think it's a little bit more time so far. But they've seen success with Helldivers 2, which just recently came out on PC and PlayStation. That's done really well. And, it kind of makes sense. You're releasing on 2 platforms versus 1, so you're automatically going to have a bigger audience, bigger potential audience. So I think that's something we'll start to see with more of, PlayStation exclusive titles, whether that's, I don't know if that's first party, if they want to do that soon. I don't know if they will, but third parties like Final Fantasy, there's already a lot of talk about Final Fantasy coming to Xbox. Maybe the Switch too. I have no idea how it would work on the Switch, but that is the strategy going forward for at least Xbox and PlayStation. It will vary greatly between the two, but that is the strategy moving forward, seemingly.
Can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences. How does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show,
right?
Where we showed great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years, and
they have.
Our focus is on.
They have, but I feel like they're trying to have the best of both worlds, where it's we play by our own rules, but we also want to succeed by PlayStation rules or Nintendo rules, with the exclusivity and things like that, and it's just not gonna work. So I feel like this strategy is it's still kind of towing that line, so we'll see what the impact of that is. But I do think going forward, and again, it seems like PlayStation's doing something similar, going to multiple platforms after a certain amount of time, and then probably eventually same day, is going to be the way to go for gaming.
How do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places? And how do we grow Xbox as part of that? Xbox is a hardware platform, Xbox is a publisher of great games, and Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Speak to it.
To build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years, where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform. And
that is very true.
That really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our
Fortnite
games
wouldn't
will
be what
on
it
the
is
Xbox
now if it
platform.
couldn't reach all the
Second,
platforms.
all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So
okay, that's a big one. That is a big one. So you can only access Game Pass on Xbox, at least for the foreseeable future. It will not be on PlayStation. It will not be on the Switch or whatever comes after for the foreseeable future.
Starting points for us. As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox.
Right.
And at the same time, we want to bring more of our
Halo and Gears are a part of that now.
Players. So we're going to continue to look at that. Kind of moving aside, though, from some of those and thinking more about what does it really mean for the player, to me, the two key things are cross-play and cross-save.
I like that.
Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are, play on the devices you want, play the games you want.
So I've been thinking about this. I don't know what he's about to say, but if they could find, because they're saying like cross-play and cross progression, right? Cross-play, cross-platform. Progression, is that part of it? I don't know. But if there was some way that you could access your library across different platforms, or I don't know, have some kind of interaction there, I think that would be pretty interesting.
That is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as first party get such a good benefit from being so close.
So is that just limited to
absolutely.
PC?
And that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass, and so I'm excited to announce
all of them
with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super excited to share.
Maybe I'll try Diablo.
And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox, the Xbox experience, and the games that we build as widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Amazing.
Very nice.
To the point,
right now, wait,
Phil,
what did she say today?
This isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about what we're doing on Xbox, where we're going. You know, if you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are, but to know that you actually have multiple entitlements to the games.
Okay.
I think that's a technology I would love to see applied to more platforms.
That is a good point, to bring up multiple entitlements. But I think the question for me then is, what happened? Can a game get delisted on one platform and not the other? I don't know.
But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like, we've had different taglines, different strategy, kind of words that we've used, but always with this
a lot of them.
That Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises, so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening.
Phil's
with
a great
Xbox,
speaker.
Phil's
a cool dude. I like Phil.
Where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality.
He's very composed right now.
We've put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
That's a good question.
As you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on PlayStation. We're one of the largest publishers on the Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well.
He said we're already in there.
On mobile platforms as well. And
Interesting.
That's not something.
Unless it's all staged. Oh, I mean, this is rehearsed. It's definitely rehearsed. It's definitely rehearsed.
People can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, The system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business. Growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at opportunities to allow more people to play, more people engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe, it's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players.
Let Sarah talk more.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming, and in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now. But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024, but if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on Xbox for the last decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing, growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, I mean, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it, for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? That's a big one. Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that. And I think that's really what has contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression.
I feel like they might address this, but now it's like, okay, so the console is taking advantage of these, or the game is taking advantage of the power of the console to do things that It's seemingly they're trying to say other consoles can't do as well or can't do, period. So why then bring those games to these other platforms that you feel it won't have these same advantages? Like, why would I buy an Xbox game on PlayStation or on Nintendo? Unless it's just like that's something I'm really interested in. But if I'm like on the fence and I know it's not gonna perform as well, like what's the reasoning for it? I don't know. Cause Hi-Fi Rush, I think, is one of those games. If it went on another platform, I don't think many people have questions about, oh yeah, I'll get this, I'll play this, why not? Halo Infinite, at least as the game stands right now, pretty good place, no questions, get it. Indiana Jones, some people have reservations about it. What's going to convince them to pull the trigger? I don't know.
And the things that we're doing with cloud, how do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Palworld. Palworld was able to launch. They were a game preview. They launched in Game Pass. They also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success. And it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've
That's
got
nice.
subscription, we've got retail, we've got
If I was a
free-to-play,
dev, that'd be a good thing to hear.
We have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of those things. And when we step back and we just look at the performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of users on cloud ever. We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more.
Beyond the console ecosystem.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer.
Okay.
Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest.
Highest level of user on console. I was kind of also squinting my eyes a little bit. I think, and it's hard to say because she didn't clarify, but I think what she's saying is they have the highest level of users on console on this iteration of the Xbox. So in the Xbox's history, they currently had the highest level of users on their consoles versus just looking at the console's history, not compared to the games industry. Because obviously, if we're looking at the games industry, Xbox does not have the highest level of users. I would bet big money on that. So I think that's what she meant. That makes the most sense to me, at least.
They do that the games are going to grow great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox.
This sounds I don't know. I need to see it in action. I need to see how this works. We know that I think the Steam version of Palworld works a little bit better than the Xbox one. Don't quote me on that because I'm unsure. I know there's disparity between the two, is my point. So if these devs have to be prepared to port their games over, I guess that's what the year in between is of exclusivity, is figuring out the port, if they're gonna port or not. I don't know, because again, having one version that's superior to the other, it's not gonna be good. You have to have equal playing field. At least in terms of how the game operates. If there's a special feature on Xbox you can only get on Xbox, sure, that'd be great. Then it's I wish I had this feature, but I don't play on Xbox. Maybe I should get an Xbox kind of thing. But if it's just this game just runs better on Xbox, then it feels like you're kind of trying to short people, I don't think that's what they're trying to do, but that's the question I have right now.
Than ever before, by nature, thousands of them, by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday.
Oh.
We're also invested in the next generation roadmap. What we're really focused on there is delivering
this holiday
the
Xbox announcement.
you'll have ever
hardware.
seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better
Wait,
for
hold on.
players
I topped over
and
her.
better for creators
Let me
and
go
the
back.
visions that they're built.
Go back.
Really focused. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And we're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators.
The largest technical leap. It's buzzy, but what does it actually mean? I feel like we've said this about this generation for both Xbox and PlayStation. And there are a few games that I feel have actually made that technical leap. So now when they say this, I'm like, okay, but what does this actually mean for us playing the game? Where are we trying to improve?
And the visions that they're building.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations.
Oh, wow. Game preservation. Now, okay. Walk in for this.
Important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more.
That is a hot topic right now.
Talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry. There's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can you say about our stance around game preservation?
Okay.
Yeah. One of the highlights
they actually
for
talk
me
about this.
Of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced the back compat coming.
Back
to
compat.
Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. Slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. One of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like, I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. Okay. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're going to support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices.
That is great. They should promote that more because I didn't know that.
Can we go back to what Xbox stands for today? I think.
They didn't really touch on this though. They didn't really get into the preservation at all. Like, I want to know, because she talked about streaming, like streaming our games, and what does that mean in respect to your games library? Yeah, what does that mean in general? Just buying digitally, going towards digital. I know you said, like, we're trying to respect the consumer, respect the developers. He didn't really go into that one. He danced around it. He did the jig. Because having the entitlements, the multiple entitlements, is interesting. And again, does that mean one version can get delisted and the other won't? Or if you bought the game on PC, it gets delisted on PC, but it's still available on Xbox, do you still have that entitlement? Or are both entitlements gone for you now because the platform that you bought it on, it's no longer available there? And then how are these games being preserved? He said on PC it's a little bit easier, console it's a little bit harder. So what does that mean exactly? This needs to be revisited.
We've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
When you play on Xbox, What we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one. And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility. Being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing.
So by entitlements, what do they mean? It's basically like having the from my understanding of it, and I've never heard this terminology before, from my understanding of it, it's having the license to play the game. So if you buy a game, let's say you bought Hi-Fi Rush on Xbox today, which is only available digitally, and you bought it on your Series X or something, you would have a license to play it on the Series X, and you would have a license to play it on PC, if there's a PC version available, which I don't think all the console games have that, to my knowledge. But so if you buy a game and it's available on both Xbox and PC, and that's probably limited to the Xbox app on Windows, then you will be able to play that game on both platforms, from my understanding. I've not heard the entitlement language used before, but I assume it's the same as interchangeable as license.
Investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
Yeah, just that investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios that we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry.
Yeah.
What does that mean for players?
Do something with it.
It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game. And there's more in development, which I think we're
Get me replaced, please.
Coming up pretty soon.
Nice.
I should get
How soon?
to work on that show. Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
See, I bet so many people feel so stupid now. Granted, I don't think every question was answered, but I think the biggest concerns were definitely addressed here. So, to reiterate, Xbox is not going multi-platform. If you've already sold your Xbox, luckily to you, you have entitlements on PC. Luckily. So I guess, you don't have to buy your console back if you don't want to. I prefer playing on console though, so I'm going to keep mine. But yeah, as far as we know, I don't know if all the titles have this, or if it's a limited number. I have to look into this. But you will have an entitlement to both a version of your games on Xbox and a version on PC. We know that. They're making sure like you can play it wherever you want with mobile, PC, Xbox, all those platforms. There's some TV apps as well. They did briefly talk about game preservation, but it almost feels like they just wanted the tag of game preservation in the video. Because like I don't really know what that looks like for Xbox right now. Did they say anything worthwhile? Well, that depends, Sean. That depends on your perspective. The most worthwhile thing is that they are not going multi-platform. They are still invested in Xbox, and there will be new hardware actually announced this holiday season. That's probably the biggest thing. New hardware will be announced this holiday season. Then second biggest thing is they're not going to become a publisher, a third-party publisher. So that's the biggest stuff. They also talked about, let's see. That's nice that they have the chapters. They want to build the game communities. That comes with time. how does Xbox want to keep up with the industry, basically competing in multiple different places? So far, also the worthwhile thing, there are 4 games that will be going to other platforms. Just for, Phil didn't say this, but we all know this. For now. For now. He did not say what those titles are, but he did say that these titles were at least a year old. Hi-Fi Rush is included in that list. Sea of Thieves is included in that list. And it seems like data mining is pretty likely that those will be going to other platforms. He did say that Starfield will not be included in that list, and Indiana Jones will not be included in that list. Let's see. Activision Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass. Diablo 4 might be on Game Pass right now. I don't know. I might have talked over if they were doing that now, like today or when, but it is going to be on Game Pass very soon. Yeah. Because they aren't a year old, I think is the hidden message there, to be honest. Which games? Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves? Or, oh, you mean Indiana Jones and Starfield will not be going to other platforms because they're a year old. Well, that is correct. That is correct. I think, listen, if Starfield and Indiana Jones went to other platforms after a year of service on Xbox, cool. I'm glad. More players for that game. I'm not against it. I think if they still want to play like this exclusivity game, that's what they need to do. That's what they need to do. We'll see what the success of it a year, 2 years from now, but that's what they need to do. It's interesting because like before Starfield came out, there was a petition like, get it on PlayStation. We need this on Play. How could they not put it on PlayStation? And now, I don't know how many people would actually want that. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how many people want that. Indiana Jones, though, that's huge. I feel good. I feel good about the game. It's scared because I don't know. I don't wanna jinx it, but I feel good about it, and hopefully it will be a title that multiple people want to see. He left the door open to other games for sure. Oh yeah, definitely. But also, I don't think games going to other consoles means that the sky is falling like so many others did. I'm also with you there. I'm with you there. I think like Paradox mentioned earlier, PlayStation is also not going quite as deep as Xbox is with mirroring this strategy of bringing some titles to other platforms, and I feel like eventually most, if not all, titles, but everybody except for Nintendo for now that we know of is trying to experiment with having multi-platform titles. So far, PlayStation has seen huge success with Helldivers 2. So you can bet your bottom that at least the many, many, many live service games that they have in the works, if those projects are still living, will definitely be PlayStation and most likely PC dual release. Plus, we'll see what happens when investors get involved. Let these 4 games make a shit ton of money. The licenses will flow. That's the thing. Hi-Fi Rush is an excellent game. You should have played it, Didge. Shots at Didge. Everybody point at him. Laugh at him. But Hi-Fi Rush is an excellent game. I can easily see it succeeding. Not too much. No, all of it. Just all of it. But I can easily see it succeeding on Switch. It feels like a Switch game. Bro, even I played Hi-Fi Rush. That's... Sean, I didn't know you were behind on things. We'll have to talk about that. But see, Sean played it. Sean played it. Come on, man. It's a small step. Bigger steps to come. 100%. 100%. But I honestly, I feel like Hi-Fi Rush would be the perfect Switch game if it's optimized and runs well. Hi-Fi Rush was struggling to run on my PC. It's not a beast. So when I was trying to record, and y'all can even look back at my recordings, like sometimes it was just like, ew. on my side, it looked great, but for the recording, it was just like, whoa. So I can only imagine how the Switch is going to handle that, but I think it would be a great Switch game. I really do. I think there are probably other titles. Sea of Thieves, for example, would greatly benefit from leaving the closed Xbox ecosystem and welcoming other platforms, because Sea of Thieves is a live service game. Live service games need the player base in order to continue to warrant like those updates and getting additional content. So especially if there's going to be like a huge push for live service games, like, you know, we've seen PlayStation really hedge a big bet there. But Xbox already has some live service games that is trying to get off the ground and has already been going for a little bit. There definitely will be more like multi-platform games just in the respect for that category alone. So this is one small step of many, like Paradox was saying. It's one small step of many, not just for Xbox, but for the game industry in general. I feel like PlayStation, maybe towards the end of this next generation that they have coming up, maybe they'll consider bringing like the original Mario to Xbox or to PC or to PC or to PlayStation. Maybe they will consider that. Maybe we'll get a Wind Waker on something else if they don't want to put it on Switch. I don't know. I just want Wind Waker so bad. But yeah, I think those are most of my thoughts for now. This is my reaction, I guess. I'll probably have some more once I kind of absorb things. And definitely, you know, as you see some of the people on the screen, kind of funny, and Digital Foundry, hear their perspectives on some things. It'll definitely make me think a little bit more. But thank y'all for coming through the stream. I appreciate the chats and the thoughts and the feedback. I hope that at the very least, if you are an Xbox gamer or just enjoy gaming and I happen to like Xbox and you were scared, hopefully you're not scared anymore. If you were scared in general just because like we need competition, hopefully you're not scared anymore. That's what I take out of today. Now I cannot be stressed about this. Like I knew some of these rumors were blown out of proportion. In the back of your mind, you're always thinking, what if they're real? What if it's true? So now I feel like the pitchforks will probably be turned from Xbox to all these leakers that were so wrong. So pray for them. Pray for them. Y'all were yapping. Y'all were yapping. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I actually have to go. But I appreciate y'all coming through. This VOD will be up on Twitch, and I'm also streaming on YouTube, so y'all will be able to see it later. A moment in history, y'all. A moment in history. But yeah, I will talk to y'all soon. Hopefully be able to get Persona 5 Tactica up and running on my old Xbox. We'll see how that goes. If not, I'll probably try and see y'all early next week. So hopefully you had a nice Valentine's Day as well. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.